Can doctors tell if you're a virgin? The truth about hymens and sexual health. There is something that so many people carry deep inside but rarely dare to admit. It is a sense of fear, anxiety, or even shame when mentioning the word virginity. Many grow up terrified that one day someone will find out that their body will somehow betray them or that they will lose their value simply because they have or haven't had a certain experience in the past. Some fear their doctor will find out. Some fear their partner will be suspicious. Some fear disappointing their family. And others carry emotional wounds simply because they didn't bleed the first time or because they were forced into it. But the sad truth is, most of these fears don't come from your body at all. They come from misunderstandings that have existed for far too long. They come from cultural and religious pressure, from threats, and from ancient expectations. In this first part, we are going to dismantle those layers of misunderstanding together based on science and, more importantly, based on what you need to find peace with yourself. If you want to continue this journey of understanding your body and freeing yourself from these invisible fears, please hit subscribe so you don't miss our upcoming content. You deserve to know the truth. Virginity is not a medical concept. When people hear about virginity, many imagine a biological state, like the presence or absence of a specific body part. But in medicine, this concept completely does not exist. There is no blood test to determine loss of virginity. There is no standard describing that state. There are no signs on the body that show it. The reason is simple. Sexual intercourse does not leave a biological marker. The body does not mark the first time the way society describes it. There is no alert system, no tissue designed to record that event. The body only responds to pleasure, touch, trust, and excitement. It does not classify anyone as still or no longer a virgin. What confuses people is that virginity has been used for so long in cultural and moral stories. It sounds like a fact, but it actually doesn't belong to the medical world. When you understand this, a worry will disappear. Your body is not something that can snitch on you. It doesn't keep evidence of virginity, and it does not define your worth. The hymen does not prove sexual history. In many people's imagination, the hymen is like a freshness seal, something that will break and be lost after the first time. But the reality is completely different. The hymen is a thin, soft, stretchy layer of tissue. It does not seal off the vagina. It isn't designed to tear during sex, and it has no function to signal what has happened. Research worldwide shows that the hymen can change for many reasons unrelated to sex. Walking, playing sports, vigorous movement, falling off a bike, or horseback riding, even simple things like hand movements or habits from childhood. And there are countless people who have sex for the first time or many times, and their hymen still looks completely normal. This means the state of the hymen doesn't tell you anything. It cannot be used to draw conclusions. It cannot be used to check. And it cannot be used to judge anyone. If you've ever feared that someone could look at your body and know your past, remember this. Even an OB-GYN cannot do that. Hymens come in many shapes and are always changing. If you look at a series of medical illustrations, you'll see that hymens don't look the same on everyone. It can be round, crescent-shaped, have a vertical slit, or have multiple small holes. All of these are normal. There is no standard to compare against. More importantly, the hymen is very soft and elastic. It can stretch when the body is relaxed. It can thin out over time. It can tear a little without pain, and sometimes it heals itself. Because of this, many people have had sex, but their hymen remains. Conversely, many people have never had sex, but their hymen is not the same as when they were born. This is not a problem. It's not a sign of anything wrong. This is just the natural diversity of the human body. When you understand that the hymen isn't a seal, you will feel relieved. Your body isn't tasked with preserving some moral standard. It has only one task: to function according to its natural biological mechanisms. And those mechanisms are not tied to the concept of virginity. The World Health Organization confirms that virginity testing is a human rights violation. Many grow up with the haunting fear that a doctor, family member, or someone else can check their virginity. But the WHO, the United Nations, and international OB-GYN associations all confirm that no such test exists. Any exam to assess virginity has no scientific value and causes severe psychological trauma. In fact, many international organizations call this testing a violation of human rights because it invades the body, causes humiliation, and can lead to serious social consequences for the victim. What's scarier is that some places still maintain this custom through fear and lack of knowledge. The truth is, no one has the right to force you to let them examine your body in that way. No one has the right to judge your value based on things that do not belong to medicine. Once you understand this, the fear of being checked, detected, or judged will begin to lose its power. Religious and cultural pressure makes many feel guilty. A lot of people aren't afraid of their bodies. They are afraid of what society, family, or religion has taught them to believe. In many places, virginity is tied to purity, morality, and virtue, and that unintentionally makes many people grow up feeling guilty just because they have desires, curiosity, or an experience they dare not speak of. Research from major psychological organizations shows that this guilt can lead to depression, anxiety, low self-esteem, and a disconnection from one's own body. It makes people feel broken, dirty, or valueless. But the most important thing is that feeling is not the truth. It doesn't come from your body. It comes from what others have put on you. When you start to realize this, you have the chance to separate yourself from guilt that doesn't belong to you. No one is wrong for having an intimate experience. No one is devalued because of their past, and no one becomes less clean just because their body has matured. Virginity was historically a tool to control women. If you look back at history, you'll see something heartbreaking. The concept of virginity wasn't born to protect women. It was born to control them. In many ancient cultures, virginity was related to property, family honor, and the power of men. So, society created standards to keep women in line, including monitoring their sexual lives. Over time, those rules were passed down through stories, customs, and family teachings. But even wrapped in the guise of morality or purity, it is still not a biological truth. It is just the legacy of an era when women had no voice. When you understand this origin, you realize something very important. Your body was not born to serve ancient rules. Your body has no responsibility to prove purity. And your body does not demonstrate morality or virtue in the way society once assigned. You were not born to carry the expectations of hundreds of years of history. You are born to live your own life. Sexual debut is a gentler way to look at the first time. There is a concept that many sexual health experts believe is much more appropriate than the phrase losing your virginity. It is sexual debut. It sounds gentler, doesn't it? And also more realistic. Instead of saying you lost something, it suggests you are stepping into a new phase, a natural moment of growing up. The key to a sexual debut is that it doesn't have a fixed definition. No one stands there saying this counts as the first time or only this type counts. For everyone, that moment can be different. But the common thread is they feel it is the beginning of intimacy in a way that is meaningful to them. And the most meaningful part of this concept is the sense of relief. You aren't forced into an old mold. You haven't lost anything. You are just growing, experiencing your body, exploring connection, and entering your sexual life at your own pace. When looking at the first time this way, the body becomes a place to feel, not to be judged. And that is when you begin to reclaim your autonomy. Does a doctor know if you've had sex? This is a question many hide in their hearts, a fear they dare not speak of, afraid that just by lying on the exam table, the doctor will look at their body and know every private detail. But the truth is completely the opposite. No doctor, no matter how skilled, can determine if you've had sex just by a pelvic exam. The body does not keep signs of the first time. The hymen tells nothing. The vaginal structure reveals no sexual history. And the sensation the doctor feels when inserting an instrument doesn't say anything either. The only thing that helps a doctor know you've had sex is when you tell them yourself. Not because they want to judge, but because they need that information to take care of your health. If you haven't, the doctor will choose a gentler exam method. If you have, the doctor can advise on care, disease prevention, and sexual safety. The most important thing, they are not there to judge you. They do not read your body like a book, and they cannot know. When understanding this, many realize their biggest fear isn't in the clinic. It lies in the stories they've heard. And now is the time for you to let go of that fear. Why do so many people not bleed the first time? One of the most haunting misunderstandings is about bleeding. Many think if there's no blood, it means not a virgin. But science proved this wrong a long time ago. More than half of women in the world, do not bleed the first time. Not because they've had sex, not because their body isn't new anymore, simply because the hymen is too soft, too stretchy, or has been open since childhood. And that is completely normal. Conversely, some people bleed not because the hymen tore, but because the body was too tense, too dry, or unprepared. Those drops of blood don't reflect the past. They reflect emotions, psychology, and the body's level of relaxation in that moment. Not bleeding says nothing. Bleeding also says nothing. Neither is a measure of virginity. If you've ever worried, feared, or obsessed over this, please be gentle with yourself. You did nothing wrong. Your body is not wrong. And your body is not responsible for following any standard script society has set. The truth about being loose or stretched from sex. This is a worry many carry, especially those afraid of being judged by a partner. But the truth, based on physiology, is very clear. The vagina is made of elastic tissue. It tightens when you are tense, opens when you are relaxed, and reacts to hormones, age, and emotions more than anything else. Sex does not make the vagina loose. It does not permanently widen it. It does not change the body structure the way many imagine. Even if you have sex frequently, the vagina will return to its natural size. It works like a sphincter muscle. It doesn't keep a record of the number of times or the size of partners. The feeling of looseness usually has nothing to do with sex. It relates to declining hormones with age, childbirth, stress, lack of sleep, or weak pelvic floor muscles. These things can all be improved with exercise, care, or relaxation. And the most important thing, no man can know. The sensation during sex is not evidence, and the vagina is not a diary recording your past. You don't have to fear your body being judged based on a misunderstanding that has lasted too long. The private questions so many are ashamed to ask. There are questions people keep in their heads for years, not daring to ask a doctor or share with friends. Questions like, does just touching count? What about manual sex? Does same-sex intimacy count? Do toys count? Does masturbation count as losing virginity? And when these questions aren't answered, the fear grows. But the truth is, the concept of losing virginity has no medical definition, so no action is considered a mandatory milestone. What you consider your first time is something only you have the right to decide, not society, not religion, and certainly not anyone else. From a scientific perspective, the body doesn't classify these behaviors. It only records pleasure, contact, hormones, trust, and emotional connection. It doesn't record what counts and what doesn't. If you've ever felt ashamed of these questions, know that you are not alone. Many are worrying about the same things, and all those questions are valid, allowed to exist, and deserve to be answered respectfully. The fear of a partner finding out, and the anatomical truth that shatters it. This fear is very common. Many worry that the moment they get intimate, the other person will know immediately they've done it with someone else. And some men even believe they can feel it. But medicine shows that is impossible. Sensations of tightness or looseness depend on many factors: arousal levels, tension, hormones, lubrication, breathing rhythm, trust, and emotional state. It changes every single time. It does not reflect the past. No one has the ability to touch your body and guess if you've had sex. What people call experience, feeling, or male intuition is based on imagination and miseducation, not on anatomy. Your body carries no trace of the first time. There is no secret signal. There is no special sensation for others to detect. When you understand this, you realize the fear of judgment doesn't actually exist in your body. It exists in the culture, and you have the right to escape it. If you have been forced, hurt, or abused, you haven't lost anything. Some people watching this aren't here out of curiosity, but because they've been through something painful. An experience that did not come from their choice. A wound that makes them believe they are no longer whole, no longer valuable, or unworthy of love. But the truth is, your body hasn't had anything taken away. No one took your purity. And certainly, no one has the right to define your worth based on something you didn't choose. Modern medicine confirms that forced experiences do not change a person's character, morals, or value. The only thing remaining is psychological trauma, and that trauma can be healed. You deserve support. You deserve to be safe, and you deserve to be loved no matter how painful the past was. If there is one thing you need to hear right now, it is this: you didn't lose your virginity. You are a survivor, and it is not your fault. Your value lies not in virginity, but in your autonomy. When peeling back each layer of misunderstanding, you will realize a very gentle truth. Your value is not in a hymen, not in a first time, and not in whether you have or haven't done something. Your value lies in how you treat your body. It lies in consent. It lies in respect for yourself and the person you choose. No one becomes less valuable because of sex. No one becomes better for waiting. No one deserves to be judged for their past. The only thing that matters is that you feel safe, mature, autonomous, and comfortable in your own body. When you understand this, virginity is no longer a sentence, but just a cultural concept. And your body returns to its true nature, a part of you, not something for others to evaluate. When you truly understand your body, you see that virginity never decided anyone's worth. Your body keeps no trace to be judged. It only needs to be treated with respect, kindness, and autonomy. You have the right to start when you want, live by your own values, and prove nothing to the world. If you want to continue the journey of properly understanding sexual health and healing from old fears, please hit subscribe. You deserve to know the truth and to find peace with yourself.